Hello and welcome to Sucker Punch. I'm Mark Southworth and we're live here in the Murphy Studios in England. I'm super excited to bring you this product. You're going to have loads of fun with it and I really can't believe what you actually get inside your package. You're going to be super excited to play with this. So we're going to move over to California and to Eric Jones and he's going to give you the details on Sucker Punch.
Thanks, Mark. So let's talk about what you get in Sucker Punch. What you're getting in the package is a series of poker chips that you can use in different ways to create an endless possibility of miracles. You know, I spend a lot of time hanging out with magicians, and the thing that really gets me is that people who are just getting into coin magic, who want to start learning miracles with coins, find that it's really expensive to buy the shell sets and the flipper coins and the split coins and to even buy silver coins in general. The great thing about Sucker Punch, it gives you a huge gambit. It covers a wide array of coin magic all in one set of coins. Let's get into Sucker Punch. So don't judge me. I'm a coin guy. So when I'm holding an object that feels like a coin or looks like a coin, I tend to say coin, even though this is a poker chip. Get over it. I'm going to do it a lot during this video. So let's take a quick look at what you get in your package for Sucker Punch. You're going to get 8 ungimmicked poker chips, 4 red and then 4 blue. Then you're going to get 2, what we consider to be an expanded shell. For those who don't know what an expanded shell is, imagine taking a poker chip, stretching it out, and then hollowing the inside of it out so that it can then fit on top of the other poker chip. That's what you get with an expanded shell. The cool thing about these shells is the fact that it also has the printing that's on the outside. So with a quick flash, it looks like you're showing the poker chip front and back. So if I had 2 of them, I can show front and back, and it looks like 2, and then I can snap, and then 1 would vanish. So that's the really cool thing about the expanded shell. And again, you get 2 of them, 1 in the red, 1 in the blue. But these guys are my favorite. What you get here are 2 poker chips that are a little bit thinner, just a little bit thinner than the ungimmicked poker chips. When you put them together, they have a magnet right in the center that when you put them together, they handle as a single poker chip, which brings it up to the thickness of an ungimmicked poker chip. But because they have the magnet, without using any sleight of hand whatsoever, you can show a poker chip, and then just by sliding with your fingers, you can then get 2. And then by bringing the fingers together, you get a single poker chip. So you can produce and vanish poker chips without any sleight of hand whatsoever. And again, you get 1 in red, 1 in blue. Another really cool thing about this is that you can then bring the 2 poker chips from varying colors together, and what you end up with is a type of a copper silver coin, red on one side, blue on the other side. So just by showing the coin or poker chip, squeezing, turning the hand over, you can get a blue just by closing the hand around it. But again, there are dozens, if not hundreds of possibilities using what you see here on the table. Let's go ahead and give you some of those uses. So one of the things that we wanted to be able to do is make sure that you're able to have a wide variety of routines. One of the most popular routines that you can do with coins is a fingertip coins across, aka a 3-flat. This can be made possible with any number of gimmicks. You can do it completely ungimmicked by using 4 poker chips. You can use the expanded shell, or you can do my favorite, incorporating 2 of the regular poker chips along with our buddy the split poker chip. In this instance, I show them around. If I have a spectator, I'll hand the two regular poker chips out and I'll hold on to the real one. As I take one of the poker chips back, I'll leave this, I'll drop it in my pocket for a second. As I take one of them back, I can even do a switch and hand out the third, quote unquote, the third poker chip, so I can make it look like I've handed all three of them out. When I gather all of them back, I'll place myself in a situation where I have the split poker chip on top and closest to me, the regular poker chip furthest down and furthest away from myself, and the third poker chip in my other hand. I'm going to create the illusion that I'm putting all three of them together for just a moment, which looks kind of like this. What actually happens is I still have the poker chip in finger palm, but I just opened the split coin. Let's take a look at that from the back. You're showing the three poker chips, and then as the hands come together, you're going to slide this coin down the fingers as the hand flattens, and as soon as the fingers obstruct this area, you simply push that poker chip up. So the speed should look like that. Again. But from the front, it'll look as if you simply place that poker chip there. And again, you've got the other one in your finger palm. Now you're ready to do the three fly. You've got an open poker chip here, the split poker chip, a regular poker chip here. You hold this in this hand, and I rub the fingertips together to indicate magic is about to happen. And at an opportune moment, I'm going to allow my thumb to contact this poker chip and push it towards the fingertips to produce it. So from here to here. You get it right at the very tips of the fingers, and at the same time, your thumb is going to pull this poker chip down, allowing the split poker chip to nest. So you have this really clean display. When you do that up to speed, you have a very magical production of an object jumping from the fingertips here to the fingertips here, and you're very clean. I then put the three items together. That way I can show the hands empty. And rather than pulling that top poker chip, instead I'm going to pull the middle, which is the split poker chip. Your thumb is going to do all the work in this next sequence. The thumb in the hand here is simply going to pull this one down at a diagonal towards the palm of the hand and out of view. At the same time, your thumb here is simply going to pull this split poker chip up to separate the two. When you combine those actions, it'll look as if one poker chip jumped from here to here. Now, there's a bunch of ways you can do this. You can leave the hands stationary and just do that. The problem with that is your audience will see this object fall, which will bring suspicion to this hand. You can shake in this type of emotion if you like. There's nothing wrong with that. But I personally found by bringing the hands this way in a quick jerking action, it hides the action of this falling. It hides the action of this one popping up and makes it almost invisible. It's important that you keep the hands in a similar grip as if they're mirroring one another. Okay? So I open the fingers to show 1 and 2, shake, and then one jumps across. Now from this point, you're going to put the visible poker chip, the one that's being held by the fingertips, not the one that's being held behind, hidden against the thumb. You're going to place that one directly on top, and you regrip, so now you're holding onto these three in this hand. You slide this down, this goes in the finger palm. That way you can show the three poker chips. And you need to get this one back over, or make it seem as if you're taking this one back into the other hand. What you really do is extend the index finger, and you're going to pretend to grab this poker chip and take it away. In reality, what's going on is your thumb will push this poker chip to the fingertips. At the same time, your thumb will pull this one down to create the illusion that you've taken that poker chip. I'll do it from the back so you can see the action. Your index finger comes directly in front. Your thumb contacts this poker chip. You slide down as you push and come away. Up to speed, it looks like that. From the side, that's the angle. And from the front, you get a nice retention of vision. It feels as if I've taken that poker chip. All right? Now the last thing we need to do is cause this poker chip to jump from the fingertips here to here. The way I do that is if you're familiar with the French drop or the tourniquet, if I was doing this as a sleight of hand vanish, of course I'd come from the front to make it look like I have the coin, but the coin's still here. Imagine doing that with only one hand. There's two ways you can do it. With the coin at the fingertips or the poker chip at the fingertips like this, and drop. And what happens is the coin will simply fall as you shake. As I shake, I simply drop the coin by lifting the thumb very slightly, and it will fall into the hand, and I leave the hand in this open position. The reason you can't see the coin is because my fingertips, my curled fingertips, are hiding this coin from your view. So if your eye level is here, as long as there's an object to obscure the view, whether it's my finger, or whether it's my fingertips or my other hand, that keeps you from seeing the coin, so this creates the illusion of having an empty hand. So from here to here. You can also do what Chris Kenner calls the French pop by turning the hand over like so. So from the side, the coin will fall into the fingers as you turn the hand palm up. Up to speed, one more time, like that. Another really cool way of doing that is holding the coin at the fingertips. So you're holding it by the sides rather than by the edges. And the exact same thing will be true, only you're going to open the hand flat and then curl the fingers in, which will still create the illusion that the hand is empty. So it would be from here to here. Again, from here to here. From here to here. Putting that into a context, you've got the split poker chip on top and closest to you, prepared to push up to reveal the third. At the same time, you do one of those two vanishes, and the timing is such by the time this coin, or I'm sorry, poker chip falls into the fingers, this one is produced, like that. From this point to clean up, all you do is drop everything, and gravity will allow these to fall into the hand, but at the same time, the two magnets are strong enough to allow the poker chips, the split poker chips, to nest as you drop. That way you have a very clean display of 3 poker chips. So you start and end completely clean, even though you have a gimmick that's obviously in play. So that's 3-fly. It's a very basic routine using 2 poker chips and your split poker chip. One of the great things about it, even if you don't do the entire routine, there are a lot of different components that you can add to a routine that you're already working on. So I really hope you enjoy 3-fly. The late, great Roger Klaus had a routine called Sun and Moon, or Soleil et Lune. And it was a phenomenal piece of magic that used 2 very expensive coins called like a slippery Sam gimmick. You can use the exact same thing to accomplish his routine using the split coins that came in your package. Now down here, you'll notice that I've got a blue and a red split coin, and rather than having the 2 blues and the 2 reds together, I have them set up so that they nest. If you change the polarity, they'll sit like this, but if you flip it over, that's pretty much what you want. Now what's going to happen is you're going to have the blue side in your pocket or against your leg in your pocket. And then whenever you're ready to perform, you introduce the split coin with the blue side out. Now what's going to happen is you're going to do the move which will allow you to show both sides of the poker chip as either red or blue, depending on which one you have exposed. Now I've got the blue facing out, and you have this really nice clean display of a single object on the palm of the hand. When I want to show you the other side, if I was really going to do that, if I push it to the fingertips and turn the hand palm down, you would see the red. We don't want that. In fact, we want to show you the other side of the blue poker chip. So in order to do that, as I begin turning the hand palm down, I'm going to push the blue poker chip, splitting the poker chips like so. But to hide this, I wait until the hand starts turning palm down. And as the hand starts turning palm down, I split. That way you get to see the blue side. It's important that you keep the fingers together so that you don't get a flash of the poker chip in between. So as I turn the hand palm down, I show you the other poker chip. If I was doing this up to speed, legitimately from this position, it would look like that. That's how it would really look. Well, there's one slight discrepancy. If I really was doing it at the fingertips, I'd come back and do that and then bring it back. So there's that one slight bit of discrepancy, but your audience will never notice it. So again, you show the poker chip, place your thumb on it. As the hand turns palm down, you push the blue part. That way you can show front and back, but you don't want to separate it so much that the two poker chips separate. You want them to remain overlapped so that as you release, the magnet causes them to coalesce and come back together. So one more time, from here to here. That's the display, and we're going to use that a lot. So boom, boom. Now that I've shown you the poker chip, and I'm showing you both hands, I'm then going to turn the hand palm down, doing the move again. I'm going to place this poker chip here, so it's just resting on my thumb, more or less. And I'm going to allow the two poker chips to square up as I pull the fingers back to reveal a color change. So that sequence looks like this. You get this really clean display of one object changing into another. You can do that back and forth. So after you show both sides of the blue poker chip, you turn the other hand palm up, you show the blue poker chip again, and then you're going to allow the red to coalesce with the blue as you open the fingers to create this really cool color change. So from here to here, and you allow it to rest on the pad of the thumb, like so, and then you can pick it up cleanly and allow it to fall onto the fingertips. Your audience is then going to ask, well, where did the blue poker chip go? You cleanly go into your pocket, and because you have the blue side against your thigh, when you reach your hand into the pocket to finger palm the split poker chip, the blue side will be face up, like so. So now you have what they believe to be a blue poker chip in this hand and a red poker chip in this hand, and they don't know about what's on the other side. So you can do the move, the display in both hands. If you want to do it individually to show a red poker chip and a blue poker chip, you can do that, but it feels like you're doing the move twice. So if you do it simultaneously, it feels as if there's nothing to hide. Now, you're going to do something really cool. With the coins, the poker chips both in finger palm, you're going to begin turning the hand palm down. And as you do so, I'll do this exposed the best I can. You're going to turn the poker chips over so that they fall back into the finger palm position. So you rotate and then allow the coins, the poker chips to fall in the finger palm. So you're here. As you turn the hand over, you allow it to rotate so that when you open the hand, it's still in the same place. What you see a lot of magicians do is show you an object like this. They'll close their hand, and when they open it, it's moved, which indicates that something has taken place. But if I start with an object in that spot, and then when I open the hand, it's still in that spot, it feels like nothing has changed other than the fact that magic has happened. Okay, so I've got a blue poker chip. Well, I'm sorry, let's start over. So I've got a red poker chip here, a blue poker chip here. I close the hands around. I pause for a moment for dramatic effect. And then when I turn the hands palm up again, the coins have transposed, the poker chips have transposed. You can then do the move again in both hands to show. And what I like to do is leave these with the hands palm down with the other poker chips here, so that when I slowly allow them to coalesce and pull back, you get this really cool, very clean change. So I show you a blue and a red, and then they, oops, pardon me. I show you a blue and a red, and then they instantly change place. I'll do it again. There's a blue, there's a red, a blue, a red, instantly. they change place. And of course, you can go back and forth with that as much as you want. I then put these together, I put them into my pocket, and you're ready to rock. So that is a very simple, almost completely slight-free version of Roger Klaus's Sun and Moon, done with the two split coins. Another really cool thing about this is the fact that copper and silver coins, especially in bright lights, they still look like pretty much the same. But the contrast with the blue and the red poker chips, you can see that from a mile off, which makes it a lot more visual for even a large audience or even for just a couple of people. So please give it the respect it deserves. Practice it. Practice it, practice it before you go out and show your friends and family or add it to your show. It's a beautiful piece of magic that you can do with just two simple props that you can carry around. If you want to switch them out, you can always have another copper, silver, or another blue and red poker chip that you can shuttle out to hand those out for examination. But I don't think it's necessary. The displays are so clean that that makes it above suspicion. So again, that's copper, silver, or blue versus red. You know, kind of feels like the old Halo, blue versus red. That's kind of cool. I've got to remember that. But anyway, I hope you really enjoy the routine. And like I said, practice it before you go out and perform it. So I have to be honest with you, when Mark Southworth first gave me a set of these poker chips to play around with, I started fiddling with different color changes. And what you're about to see, the thing that I call the circular change, is probably my favorite piece of magic from this set. It's very deceptive. It looks good on camera. It looks great in person, and it's an impossible looking color change. In order to execute this, all you need are the two split coins, one from either of the two sets, and you nest them together. You're going to display the coin to your audience. The poker chip to your audience. I like to do it with the red side out. I place my thumb on it and I do the move that allows you to show both sides, keeping the fingers together. But what you want to do is you want to place your thumb right in the very center of the poker chip as you turn the hand down, keeping the fingers together. Make sure that the profile, the face of the poker chip is directly towards your audience. Now, the reason you want to do that is because for half of the routine, you're not going to have both of the poker chips together, so it won't have the same thickness. So by keeping the profile towards your audience, they won't see how thin the poker chip is. Also, it'll make the change look a lot better. So now I've shown you both sides of the poker chip. Because my thumb is in the middle, simply by rotating, this is all you're doing is rotating the poker chips in the hand. But you're doing that by keeping pressure between the thumb, the fingers against the poker chips. So as you rotate, you see the red poker chip over and over again. And on the second or the third rotation, you simply allow the poker chips to nest and then release some of the pressure between the thumb and the fingers to allow the poker chip to then circulate, the nested poker chip to circulate. And then whenever you want, you can pull this back and just get the back one to rotate, keeping this one against the fingers. So you get to see the red, and then you allow it to nest, and then come forward with the blue, and then unnest, and then come forward with both, and then unnest, and then come forward with both, and then you can open the fingers to show you only have one. I then clip the poker chip between the index finger and the middle finger, so my thumb can go on top. Rotate downward, so now I'm showing the blue side, and then you simply do the move again to show the other hand. The other side of the poker chip. So up to speed, there's a blue poker chip. And if you watch, as I rub it between the fingers, it'll change, but it didn't really, even though it looks like it changed. It didn't, unless, of course, it does. And it changes to red. So you can do that over and over and over again, and it's a really cool thing. So that's what I call the circular change. It's a very simple piece of magic, one of my favorites since I've been playing around with this set. Like I said at the beginning, it's very visual, very practical. The angles on it are really good, and I really think you're going to enjoy it. That's the circular change. Oh, George.
Hey.
What's going on, bro? Want to see a really cool trick?
Yeah, I would actually.
Excellent. I just happen to have these two really cool poker chips that I found. Let me ask, are you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Would you mind taking your right hand and turn it palm down?
Sure.
Perfect. Make a decision. Which do you prefer, the blue or the red poker chip?
Let's go with the blue.
Blue, perfect. Just place your hand around it and hold on to it and don't let it go. But keep your eye on the red one. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to shake like this and you'll notice in just a moment you'll see it starts to look like the one that you were holding on to. But if the blue one's here, I wonder what you have. Go ahead and turn your hand palm up, open, and notice that you've got both of them now.
That's pretty dope.
So guys, this is a really interesting copper-silver routine that happens in the spectator's hand. There are a lot of copper-silver routines out there, but not using the gimmicks that we are playing with today. In order to perform this routine, you need all 4 of the split coins, both blue, both red, and you have them set up so that they create essentially two copper-silver coins. You can do this routine with 2 copper-silver coins, but you won't be able to get the very clean displays that we'll be doing a little bit later on. So what I do is I show both coins, or poker chips, I'm sorry, and I have the spectator open their hand. But before I do that, I should mention that I have duplicate ungimmicked poker chips. In the performance, I had them just sitting off to the side here. If I was standing, they'd be in my pocket and I'd retrieve them from my pocket. If I had people around me, what I would do is I would take the 2 poker chips and I'd place them under my knee and they would stay there. When I'm ready to retrieve them, I simply grab, let me turn towards you a little bit so you can get a better idea. They would just be under my knee here. And whenever I'm ready to grab them, I'll simply grab them by the tip and rotate them into the finger palm on my way back up. But again, in this instance, they're literally just sitting here out of view from my knee. Okay, so I've got the 2 copper-silver poker chips or red-blue poker chip split coins. I ask the spectator if they're left-handed or right-handed. Whatever hand they are, they hold that hand palm down. And then they choose whichever chip that they want, which is a really good position because you have a very free choice. Laymen don't know that they have a free choice. They just assume, that they do. But, most routines, you have to force one or the other. You've got complete freedom here. So let's say that they choose the red one. I'm going to put the red side against the spectator's palm and then have him curl his fingers around it to keep it flat against the palm. The fingers will keep the chip in his hand and he won't be able to adjust it too much. He won't be able to split the coin. Poker chip, we're just going to have to deal with it. I'm a coin guy. This feels like coin magic. It's a poker chip, but it's a friggin' coin to me. All right, so now you're in a situation where you can do the same move. Similar to a paddle move, you're just showing both sides, as we've discussed elsewhere on this video. And you're left with the other poker chip slightly overlapping the one that's been visible. And I'm going to wave back and forth. And as I wave towards myself, I'm going to allow the poker chip to coalesce and then push both pieces directly to the fingertips. When you do it up to speed, it'll look like it's never been covered. It's important that you start and end barely covering the poker chip, so most of it is visible. And you stay consistent so that after you do the change, again, it doesn't look like nothing. It doesn't look as if anything has been obscured from your view. But this large action of moving back and forth conceals the action of you pushing the poker chip up. But with that blur, as you wave, you get a really cool color change. While this is taking place, because all of the attention is here, while you're showing this and doing the change, this hand will either reach behind the knee, reach into the pocket, or in this instance, just grab the 2 poker chips that are sitting on the table while all of the attention is up here, so that when the change occurs, you can now, with the hand holding out 2 poker chips can grab the split coin with the red side showing, and it now gives this hand something to do so it appears more natural. That way you can have a free hand to instruct your spectator to slowly turn their hand palm up and one finger at a time open. They will see the blue side of the poker chip. Before they have an opportunity to turn the poker chip over to see what's on the other side, you can grab it from them and show them what's on the other side, place it onto the palm of the hand, place the red poker chip on top of that, and then as you turn this hand palm down, you're going to execute a shuttle pass. You place your thumb on these two and turn the hand palm down at the same time. You turn this hand palm up to reveal those two. So up to speed, it would look like that. From this point, these can go into your pocket or they can remain in finger palm as you deem necessary. And then you can hand the two real poker chips out for examination. And if you're doing this walk around, you can immediately go into the routine again simply by taking these back, doing another shuttle pass, placing these these poker chips either back into your pocket, back under your knee, or wherever, and then you can go into the routine once more if you choose to do so. So that is a copper-silver transposition that happens in the spectator's hands. Again, one of the really cool things about it is the fact that you have this really open handling, that it doesn't feel like you're hiding anything because of the nature of the gaffs, and it's very, very clean. I hope you give it a try. So, what you're about to learn now is one of my favorite pieces. I've used components of this throughout my entire career, but you get some really clean displays when you're using Sucker Punch. This is something that I call Trinity. It's a production and then a vanish, a very clean production and vanish of three objects, in this case, poker chips. I really hope you enjoy it. Okay, so let's talk about Trinity. In order to perform this routine, you're going to need the expanded shell from either the blue or the red that came in the package. You're also going to need your split coin to match your expanded shell. You place all three of these together, and here's the interesting thing. You have two options on how to proceed. You can either take the other split coin and place its magnet into your watch band or into a bracelet, because what will happen is it will allow both the shell and the split coin to be attracted to it. Or you can do what I'm doing here, is have a watch or a bracelet that is ferrous, something that will attract the magnet and the split coin. So depending on the way you do this will determine how you perform the trick. I'm going to pretend that you already have a band that's like this, and we'll move forward. I'll teach you how to do it the other way in just a bit. So you're going to want to orient this combination on your watch band by taking the shell, placing it on the split coin so that the shell is mouth down, and then you place the head or the tail of the split coin, of the expanded shell, and place that against the wristband. And it just remains here. Now, a good rule of thumb is if your hand is facing the floor, you won't flash. You want to make sure that this side is covered by tilting the back of the hand towards your audience. So if you point this towards your spectator's eyes, again, you won't flash. If you were standing above me and I was sitting, then I'd keep this pointing up. If you're here, I'm going to keep it out here. If you're here, again, you're going to do it that way. So now, I reach out with my dirty hand and I grab a bit of nothing, and I place it onto the palm of the truly free hand. And then as I wave over that invisible nothing, you allow the sucker punch set to land on the palm of the hand, and friction, as you slide, friction will allow the set to sit on the palm of the hand as you dislodge it from the watch as you wave. So you do it like this, you dislodge, and the entire set sits on the palm of the hand. I'm going to toss everything into the other hand, so now the mouth is open. Place it at the base of the middle and the ring finger, and place the index and the pinky on the edges of the set, so that when you turn the hand face down, the inserts, which is the collapsed or the two pieces of the split coin, will fall out as if it was the only coin. So now you're in what's called front finger hold with the shell. You turn the hand palm down, and then simply extend the fingers and push with the middle and the ring finger, which will cause the shell to pop out of the hand and onto the palm of the other hand. So up to speed, it'll look like you produce a coin, or a poker chip rather, and then you produce a second. From this point, I want to place a bit of distance between the split coin and the expanded shell, because I'm going to produce a third poker chip here. The way I do that is I'm going to use this area of the hand to cause friction, and I'm going to push against the two, allowing the split coin to split. You separate, and then you move the chip to here. Up to speed, oops, I've got reverse polarity there for a second. Up to speed, it'll look like you just separate the hands, and as you move, it causes the third chip to appear. That's the production sequence. Now for the vanish. You take the chip closest to the wrist, and you grab it and you show the edge of that chip, the side of the chip, the profile, towards your audience, so they don't see the thinness of it. And I'm going to place it into this position, holding it with the very tip of the thumb, covered by the fingers, and I'm going to tap. 1, 1, 2, 3. On the third time, I'm going to pull back with the thumb, allowing the split coin to close. 1, 2, 3. The audience will believe that I still have a chip here, even though the hand's empty. So you just cause the last one to appear. You show 1, 2, 3, and you come away. The audience will believe that you have one here because of their attention. 1, 2, 3. Close the hand into a fist, crumble that chip into nothingness. That way you can show the hand empty. Now I'm going to show you both of these chips, and there's a small subtlety based on the way this particular gaff is set up. As I remove this chip, I simply tilt the hand down so that this chip slides into my finger palm position. So from here to here. As that happens, I turn the shell mouth up and then mouth down. So you get a quick display of the both sides, quote unquote, of the chip. So it looks like you're seeing the inside, the back side and the front side, even though you're just seeing the inside of the chip. It's a very disarming motion. And the fact that you're pushing the other one forward at the same time keeps it nice and fair. And it's also to help distract from what you're seeing on the inside of the shell. So there you go. Again, it looks like you're showing both sides of that poker chip. At this point, what you're going to do is you show the hands empty. You allow the fingertips to touch. As soon as the fingertips touch, you tilt the hand and allow the shell to fall forward and nest here. So you go like this, you tilt, and you can use these fingers to help that nest as you come back and pretend to rub this coin, poker chip, into nothingness and make it vanish. So up to speed again, you show. And that poker chip completely vanishes. You can show it front and back, and now it's nested again. And then to cause it to vanish, the shell is mouth down. You show the hands empty, and as you cross, you allow the poker chip to hit the watch as you pantomime rubbing that poker chip between the palms. You can bring it up to the fingertips, pretend splitting it, and then causing it to completely vanish. Again, you have to keep the back of your hand facing your audience. That's how you keep this from flashing. So quickly, to go over how you can do this if you don't have a Ferris band, is you have to figure out which configuration you need to hold everything in. Because if you put it this way, it's going to repel. But if you place it this way, it'll all stick together. So once you have that orientation, you'll place this into the wristband, and that way it'll pick it up. The trade-off to having this here is the fact that you'll never be able to turn the hand palm up as you could as if you had a Ferris band. So that sequence this way would look like this. You're here, you wave, that becomes the first. You have to cheat here so that you don't see this. As you place it into a front finger hold and dump, you come down just as before. You wave just as before to get the third. You show this one, tap, tap, tap. It'll nest. You make it vanish, but you can't show the hand palm up. So you squeeze and tap that way. Same thing would be true here. You do the flip, come down, palm to palm. That one would vanish. And then you'd pick this up with the magnet as you rub, and you could show this way, and then you're done. Whenever you're ready to clean up, all you have to do is rotate here as you adjust the watch. This goes in the finger palm. You place this down, and you can produce this one at any other point to ditch this. So now that you understand all of the components, you should be able to use parts of them in your own routines, even if you decide not to do all of Trinity. What I really like about it is it all happens at waist level. You can use either, like a Milanese loop, that's something that's Ferris, like the Apple Watch band, the Milanese loop, or you can place the other split coin into another watch band, or you can put the other split coin into your watch band so that you can have a magnet to use it if you don't have a Ferris loop on your watch. So it's a very cool routine. The components of it I've been doing separately for years, but I have an opportunity to put them all together with Trinity. So I really hope you take the time to study it, perform it, and don't be afraid to go out and get caught. So guys, what you're about to see is a handling of an old trick called melting point, where an object is visibly able to penetrate through a solid piece of glass. This is made possible with SuckerP. It's built in. So why not show you a really cool way to do that effect? Let's take a look at it. Okay, so this is called through. Basically, this is a really cool self-contained version of a trick called Sessural melting point. Like I said, it's completely self-contained. It's a beautiful piece of magic. All you need in order to perform it is your split coin. So what you do is you can display the chip as regular. If you hand it to someone to examine, they're just going to look at it like this. Nobody's ever going to pull it apart because they don't know that it can be pulled apart. So I've even handed that out to be examined. What you do is I first indicate that the glass is solid. As I tap here, I'm simply going to do the paddle move again, pushing this forward, holding the other piece behind. I'm going to turn this hand palm up just like so. Grab the poker chip and finger palm the other part. Now this is important. If you put these two pieces together, they'll stick. So what happens is as I turn this hand palm down, I turn this hand palm up so that when I place one underneath and one on top, they will still stick. If you reverse the polarity, this trick will not work. So tap, turn the hand in, grab the poker chip. This hand goes palm down. This hand goes palm up to point. Now, as I place this flat, my hand is going to cover the hand from my audience's point of view. So as I cover here, what's happening underneath is I'm going to open the hand and allow the poker chip that I had in this hand to stick to the one underneath. You don't see that because this hand covers and acts as a block. Now that you know what to expect, you'll probably see this edge. What you're seeing is the coin, the poker chip that's directly underneath. But for all intents and purposes, the same way you see my reflection on my hand with the fingers here, it's the exact same thing that your audience would see. And because they don't know what to expect, they don't know what's going on, they don't know what to look for, they have no reason to believe that there's a second poker chip. There's also no reason for them to believe that this poker chip is magnetic in any way and that there's another poker chip underneath that's sticking to it. Audiences don't think that way. All they do is they see a poker chip and they're wondering what's about to happen. This is where things get really interesting. You place your hand underneath, and this area of the hand is going to push up against the poker chip that's underneath. But you don't touch this poker chip until this hand comes above, and this area of the hand, the heel of the hand, is going to take this poker chip and come away at the same time. The reason you're using this area of the hand is because that area is going to push upward towards the table, causing this to stick temporarily. That sequence is going to look like this. You show the hand empty, you come away, and now what's going to happen is the second you drop, you're going to tap with your index finger against the poker chip, almost as if you're pushing it straight through the table. So up to speed again. It'll just look like you push and the poker chip passes straight through the table. From this point to clean up, you've got the one poker chip here. I'm going to leave it slightly exposed. And as the hands come together, you're simply going to bring the two chips together and allow them to coalesce as the hands come up. And you'll toss the chip back and forth to show its singularity so you can show the hands empty. So I'll do the entire sequence in slow motion, again exposed, so that you can see how this works. You tap underneath, and as you tap here, you turn over, grab the poker chip, turn this hand palm down, this hand palm up with the poker chip and finger palm. You point, you place the poker chip down, and as you cover, you extend and place this on top. And again, that would look like this. That way you're here. That way you can separate the hands. You can even leave the coins there, the chips there. If you want, when you first start the routine, while you're talking, if you find yourself in a position where you have a glass table, you can just place this here. Yeah, so another way that you can get into this, if you decide you don't want to go through that entire elaborate process, is you can have a napkin. And you can have it sitting on the napkin, and just by pulling the napkin away, you're ready to go. So again, you have the poker chip, one underneath, one on top, and while you're conversing, you just simply drop that on top. Now the poker chip underneath is staying because of the strength of the magnet on top. Just by leaving this in place and pulling, now you're in position to go into the routine. From this point, again, you just place the palm, this area of your hand against as the heel of the hand steals this away. Now, the truth of the matter is this can be discrepant because very rarely are you going to find yourself where the M and the M match exactly. So you may find yourself in a situation where there's a small discrepancy of the M facing this way, and then when they pull back, it faces this way. Your audience will never be able to tell that. If you watch this video over and over and over again, of course, you'll see it. But your audience is caught in the moment. All they do is they see you waving over the poker chip. From this point, you're going to drop the hand, push with your index finger. The poker chip goes to the table, which is a very strong moment. You can show that it's underneath. And then again, exposed view. You allow the poker chip to coalesce as you flip. Now, you do notice that you hear the sound of the poker chips clicking. But from your audience's point of view, that happens as you touch the table. So as far as they're concerned, you just hit it on the table on your way from the top. They don't know the difference. So I'll do that up to speed one more time. Oops, pardon me. and that is called through. So there are a lot of moving pieces here. Fortunately, there's not a lot of sleight of hand. Finger palm is the only concealment you're using, and that's being covered by a palm up hand, so you're completely covered. Just take your time with it. Don't rush through it. As far as your angles are concerned, you're good for 180 degrees. Anytime anyone's on this side of you, of this side of the table, you shouldn't have any trouble performing it. What I would suggest doing is taking your cell phone, tilting it towards the glass table in the area that you're about to perform. That way you can get an idea of what your audience is about to see, and either use your selfie camera, the front-facing camera, or you can, record it and take a look at it later. But this is a great piece of magic. I really hope you give it a try. This is called Through. So, pretty much, that's Sucker Punch. I hope you've enjoyed it. But before we go, I want to cover just a couple of troubleshooting things in case you're having some issues. For instance, anytime you're performing this, the goal would be to have the profile of the poker chip facing your audience. And that'll help for a couple of different things. The main thing is it allows them to see the contrast between the red and the blue. The more you tilt up, the less visible it's going to be. So you want to tilt that towards your audience. The second thing that it'll do is it'll hide thicknesses. You've got a couple of different degrees of thick here. For instance, you've got, if you have one of the split poker chips sitting in a routine beside a regular poker chip, from the edge, you'll be able to tell the difference. But from the profile, it's much more difficult, especially when you add the expanded shell. Again, from the profile, from the side, you can definitely tell the difference between the three sizes, but it's a lot more difficult when you're doing it this way. So the more space that you put between your audience and the place that you're performing, the less likely they'll be able to see the differences between the chips. The other thing that I'll tell you, these are very well made from a plastic that'll last you a lifetime, but you don't want to wash them because that will cause the stickers that are affixed to the magnets here or to the shell to come apart. So you do want to take care of these and make sure you don't wash them. The only other thing that I will say is that every once in a while, and it's relatively rare, that you'll get into a situation where the poker chips overlap like this when they nest. So I'll give you a couple of ways that you can correct this during performance. The easiest way is to do a position check. If you can see it, that means they can't, because that means that the split is going to be on this side of the coin, of the poker chip. But if you tilt towards yourself and you can see the split, then just curl the fingers in and allow the poker chip to nest fully before you continue on with the routine. Another thing, if you're a real stickler, a thing that you can do is take a Sharpie marker and just very gently trace a black line all the way around the edge, right against the edge of the sticker. What that'll do is it'll thicken the line between the black edge of the poker chip and where the edge would stop, so that if there is a slight flash, they're more likely to get more black than they would the color of the poker chip, which will give you a little extra protection. It's not necessary. I've been performing with these things for almost a year and a half now, and very rarely do I ever have an issue with anyone noticing the split. Now, this is exaggerated. It very rarely gets that thick. It's usually more like that. I don't know if you can see that on camera there, but it's very slight. If you keep this in motion, that slight blur, your audience isn't sure if they're seeing the reflection from the high gloss on the side of the plastic or anything else. So I've never run into an issue, but I know people are going to be sticklers and they're going to say, hey, look, you can see a little bit of the edge. That's how you resolve it. So those are just a couple of the tricks that allow Sucker Punch to be even more deceptive to an audience. Make sure you go out and perform this. This is an amazing set of poker chips. Hey guys, so that's Sucker Punch. Special shout out to Mark Southworth, the guy who came up with Sucker Punch, and Murphy's Magic, the company that's bringing it to you at your favorite dealer. And I'm Eric Jones, of course. Sucker Punch is a great set of tools. One of the things, again, that I really love about it is for a very nominal cost, you have a great deal of magic that you can do right at the tips of the fingers. Just about anything that you can do with coins, you can now do with Sucker Punch for a fraction of the cost. Guys, thank you so much for purchasing Sucker Punch. See you next time.